The views expressed in this blog are hosted on my own website, are strictly personal, and do not reflect the views of any organization. Hello and welcome once again to Straight Bat, my weekly video blog where, as the title suggests, I comment with a straight bat. This week I raise a contentious issue. Is there a Muslim vote bank out there? And how is it playing out in this election season? I asked this question from Lucknow, where I am at the moment reporting on the mother of all battles, the elections of Uttar Pradesh. And like many other cities of the country, Lucknow too is a divided city. There are two Lucknows. There's the new Lucknow of the spanking expressways, metro lines, lovely parks, and there is the older Lucknow of the congested bylanes and crumbling civic infrastructure. Now, Lucknow has a 26% Muslim population, and the majority of that lives in the older Lucknow. And that's where I traveled and spent half a day just to get a sense of how Muslims are viewing, or urban Muslims are viewing, this election of 2022. What are their views on the hijab row, and a little bit more. Is there a Muslim vote bank out there? Here are my 10 takeaways. Takeaway number one, and right at the outset, yes, there is a distinct and increasingly consolidating Muslim vote bank out there. Yogi Adityanath, Chief Minister UP, may have put this election rather crudely and incorrectly as an 80-20 election. Incorrectly because the Hindu vote is not a monolithic vote in a caste-ridden society. But the fact is that 18 to 20% of the Muslim population of this state, that is the bulk of this 18 to 20% Muslim population of UP, will not vote for Yogi Adityanath, but for anyone who can defeat him and the BJP. That is the harsh reality. Takeaway two, in this election in UP, it is becoming increasingly bipolar between the BJP and the Samajwadi Party. The Muslims of Lucknow and perhaps across the state are voting for the Samajwadi Party. There may be a nostalgic affection for the Nehru Gandhis and the Congress, but that's not enough for them to make them vote for a party they think cannot win in this election. The Bahujan Samaj Party is seen today as a party that is becoming increasingly marginal, again in no position to challenge the BJP for power, so they too are out of the calculus unless there is a specific area with a very strong Muslim candidate. The Samajwadi Party, on the other hand, is being seen as best placed to challenge and defeat the BJP, so most Muslims are gravitating there. Anti-BJPism runs deep, and that's what's taking them towards the SP. Okay, takeaway three. Asaduddin Owaisi is seen as the most prominent Muslim politician of this generation. That's right, the young Muslim that I met in particular would show me his speeches, studio debates from YouTube. They will attend his rallies in large numbers. But interestingly, he's still seen as a leader who represents identity politics more than winnability. He appeals to a sense of a Muslim identity as an articulate and fierce spokesperson of community interests and their concerns, but doesn't appeal to the Muslim voter as yet here. So the AIMIM is therefore not going to increase its vote share by a significant margin. Takeaway number four, Muslims that I met feel genuinely politically disempowered. That's right. This is partly due to a statistical reality that fewer and fewer Muslim MLAs are getting elected to the Uttar Pradesh Assembly. In 2012, the UP Assembly had as many as 68 Muslim MLAs in a 405-member house. By 2017, the numbers had dwindled to just 25. That's less than half. Remember, this was the time when the BJP sweeps the election, but did not even have a single Muslim, give a single Muslim a ticket in the state. Now, in a state where around 120 seats have over 20% Muslim population, that sense of unequal representation in politics is palpable, and a feeling that there is no one out there who represents or will reflect the community's concerns aggressively. Takeaway 5. Muslims do not accept the Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas slogan that is being thrown at them by the Yogi Modi double engine, as it is called. Now, this is based on reality and perception in a way Because the objective reality is that while a number of the development schemes of the Yogi government, like a free ration scheme for BPL families during COVID, have reached both Hindus and Muslims, the development paradigm is missing. Why is it, for example, that when you go into central Lucknow, the first thing that you're told is there isn't a single decent government school or hospital in the area? Why is it that the smart city concept seems to elude this part of Lucknow, the old city areas where all one sees are crumbling houses, narrow bylanes, tangles of overhead wires, poor drainage, running sewage water? This reality in turn has built the perception that the Muslim areas are being left out of the shining new UP or new India, as they call it. Takeaway number 6. The 5 years of Yogi rule have made Muslims feel, and this is again where perhaps reality and perception are both involved, that they are not equal citizens. This may be partly due to the image of Yogi ji as this saffron monk who propagates a Hindu majoritarian worldview, but it is also the regrettable manner in which certain communal statements have been made, how they get interpreted on the ground and lead to further polarization. For example, his remark, Yogi ji's remark, that his government will not protect rioters but will run bulldozers on their chest, is remembered by most Muslims here. They see it as an open threat, an incitement, and a targeting of the Muslims who were protesting against the Citizenship Amendment Act. It's precisely this kind of comment that is breeding fear, insecurity, and an unshaken belief that above all else, this is an anti-Muslim government that has demonized minorities as rioters, criminals, as people who are untrustworthy. Takeaway 7. Muslims feel that the so-called secular mainstream political leaders are letting them down by not representing their interests in a meaningful manner. And Azam Khan in Rampur, for example, was seen as the tallest leader of the Muslim community in UP. He built his own family empire, but he has really done little to change the lives of his own community. And therefore, the vacuum that has been caused by a sense of a lack of hope in the future is worryingly being filled in by religious clerics and those who are speaking an even more strident language. In a sense, the Muslim is trapped between an Azam Khan and a Tauqi Raza, it appears, almost as if the moderate voice who speaks the language of rationality, of dialogue, of conciliation is being lost or being marginalized. Takeaway 8. Mainstream political parties are reluctant to raise issues or get identified with causes that will be viewed through a Muslim prism in any way or seen to be pro-minority in any way. The Congress has told its spokespersons in UP, do not touch the hijab row, for example, because it will only polarize the narrative and prove counterproductive at election time. The Samajwadi Party has also issued a similar firman to its local spokespersons. This vacuum again is being filled by self-styled Muslim local leaders now who are using a more strident language and thereby inflaming passions even further. Takeaway number 9. Most people on the street that I met are far more worried about jobs, infrastructure, education, health than the fallout of this hijab row. Yes, many of the people I spoke to said that taking away a woman's right to wear a hijab in educational institutes and public spaces is an attack on their religious identity. Some of them said Sharia above all else. But the majority seem to believe that this is a needless political controversy manufactured on the eve of election time to divide and distract. Hijab baad mein pehle rozgar was a quote that I got on the streets of Lucknow. Takeaway number 10, and an important one for all of us. Muslims now intensely dislike the mainstream media as much as they do the so-called mainstream politicians. Why do you bring these Maulanas to the studio? Ye to bas aapko TRP dete hai, was one quote I got. Why don't you debate jobs and education instead of hijab, was another quote. The fact, my friends, is the sense of insecurity built by toxic politics is now reflected in the opinion of news channels who are also seen as stereotyping Muslims as intolerant and bigoted. So if most politicians today are being seen as anti-minority, especially from the ruling party, the media is seen as their proxy. Are the Muslims, local Muslims I met, wrong in their perception? That's something I want you to think of. Just one final word. I also met, and this is a sign of hope, a number of young people, Hindus and Muslims, who insisted that they are tired of this constant Hindu-Muslim narrative in Uttar Pradesh. They want to go beyond religious walls. They want exams to be held on time. They want better jobs, above all else, more employment opportunities. So maybe there is a Youngistan out there that will hopefully build a better future for Uttar Pradesh and the country. But for now, all I can say, on the ground, UP sadly remains more sharply divided on religious grounds when it comes to political preferences. That was the Straight Bat. Thanks for watching. Do of course subscribe to my YouTube channel for many more such videos. For now, stay well, stay safe. Namaskar. Jai Hind.